All right. Hello, world. Hello, world. All right, we are live. Let me make sure everything's muted. All right, cool. Hello, everyone. I'll just wait for people to trickle in. We'll give them a second. Hey, everyone. We're going to just create some artwork because we can, and you'll learn a thing or five. All right, so just making this link public. I'm gonna create some Wonder Woman artwork, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. So that is the plan, and yes, we're gonna go live now with it. So we will figure that out. Cool. All right. Evil, hey, evil Charisse. Yeah, I can't say it correctly. We just made the stream public just now, so it might actually take a second to kind of get people through the door, if you will. So, but I have some work to do, and it should be pretty fun. So that's the idea. So hopefully that's cool with you. What's happening? All right. Cool. All right. Tim, thank you. I'll just say Tim, because I can never pronounce your name correctly. Tim's in the house. All right, so we just made this. We just made the link public, so it's going to take a second for people to kind of come in. We'll see how that affects things, and because we don't have a lot watching now, but we're going to get this party started. All right, cool. Well, I'm going to get started on this action, right? Because that's what I do, and yeah, that's why I'm here. So feel free to follow along. Tim, I don't know if you joined me yesterday, Thursday, but yeah. Kind of wanted to continue and finish that piece. So let's just switch over. How about it, Tim? All right, Tim. All right, kind of went through some of this already. I should really bust out my Wacom tablet. But essentially, I'm going to be creating some things based on Gal Gadot and Wonder Woman. So it's an embedded image. I'm going to trace this bad boy. This is just to get everybody up to speed. Essentially, I'm going to go ahead and do an image trace. You can see is right up here at the top. Image trace. 3 colors is what I'm going with. Have a drink of my alcohol. It's not alcohol. But it is a drug because you can get addicted to it. Caffeine. All right. Cool. Tim's in the house. And what's up, Sinister Voids MJ4K? I think it will be dope too. So all I'm doing is outlining this, by the way. Boom, here we are. Done. All right. Already looks pretty good. I just sourced some images from the interweb, by the way. So that's all I did is I just did a search for Wonder Woman, pulled down some. This is a cool one too, right? Technically, I don't own the rights to them. Don't steal stuff is my goal, but I'm not. This is just fan art. It's not for resale or anything. It's actually just for a tutorial. I'll expand this now as well. expand, and then ungroup. So those are the two things you need to do after you do a live trace, is expand and then ungroup. And now you can see these are individual elements. From there, let's turn down the music. The Andrew Apple Pie, as he's known. I don't know if it's coming in too loud on your end. All right, so I'm going to do a select the same fill color and change to black. Then I'm going to switch back over here to Spotify and change the music. All right, this white I don't need, same thing. Select same fill color, delete. Okay, so that kind of gives me what I want. I actually want to take this gray and I want to put it on a separate layer. So it's selecting that same fill color, cutting it, new layer, paste in place. And I'll kind of put this behind, right? So the key thing we'll notice, we can start taking a look at this. We have all these crazy grays that actually I'd love to get rid of, okay? And that's what I'm going to do. Just start removing a lot of this gray. In fact, what I want to do is I might just end up redrawing it, right? Because this is what happens when you do a live trace. It gets kind of chunky and can get kind of ugly looking, right? And I don't want that to be the case. Okay. Hello from Bangladesh. Awesome. You are from very far away compared to me. I am in Colorado. So here she is. You can do, next step is going about this just an easy way, because the thing is like it's going to come out really, really harsh looking, okay? Even the blacks here. So what I can do is I can do an overall, a global path simplify. Okay, so let me turn this on. And you can see how it makes it simpler, obviously. You can increase or decrease the precision. But really, I could just use this to kind of take the edge off, and that's about it. So we can just go before, after. That just is a subtle change. That's all I want to do. But anytime you do a live trace, it just comes out kind of chunky. So this is typically what I'll do, is I will go in and maybe I'll use these, all the grays as a guide. In fact, I'll turn them blue. Okay, so that's just the blue, but I really, instead of going through and outlining all this stuff, actually, I want to repaint it. But even before I go there, let me just jump back. Because what if you just want to basically, awesome. All right, so what if you just want to smooth out a segment of the line, okay, and not the whole thing? So again, this is going to be a global simplify, object, global simplify right down here. I can also go over here behind the pencil tool. You'll notice the smooth tool right over here. Okay, so I can select smooth, and then I can start just rolling over this line, okay, and simplify those parts, right? Like, look at all of these Bezier points, like way too many, okay? So that's one easy way to keep the shape and eliminate points at the same time. Okay, smooth it out along that line. Smooth it out along this line. All right, how you doing, guys? Where are you? Sinister Voids, where are you from? I'm just kind of curious. I'm here in Colorado. It's a nice hot day out. Okay, not bad, not bad. Definitely need to trim up this side right here. Simplify that line. Okay, and I can start eliminating points as well. You guys get the idea. This is kind of the boring stuff, so let me just show you some other tips that I can do. I created this new layer. I have the grays. The grays are, technically it's not the grays, but the midtones are blue. Anita in the house, hello. Good to see ya. So these midtones, these blues, those are the midtones, okay? It's really chunky. What I typically will do is like say, hey, you know what? That's way too chunky. In fact, I will just flip it and do something like this. That blue outline, that outlines the shape of the shadow that I want to put in, so the midtone that I want to put in. And I want to put that in using the blob brush, okay? So I'm going to use the blob brush with a medium tone, and I can start painting in. What the blob brush does is it actually gives you a solid shape as opposed to a stroke, okay? So it's really easy to work with. But here, rather than using that chunky line, I can come in here and say shh, like that. And what it's doing is it's creating this complete shape right here. Okay. So again, just using the blue as an outline, I now have this shape that I can always manipulate further if I want to, because I still need that highlight on the lip. Okay, so I can adjust accordingly any way I want, even remove points. Okay, since it's one solid shape, even though I've used multiple brush strokes, and all that good stuff, it makes it one shape. There's more I can do with it than if I just want to, you know, just use a solid color. I can actually turn this into like a, you know, a gradient as well. So simple, pretty simple stuff, right? Here we have, it's a radial gradient that I could start to adjust. Like that, for instance. Soften up that line. You guys get the idea. Okay. Hello there, Max. Peter, what's up? Okay, cool. So blob brush that that's what I'd continue to do. Remember, this blue is just a residual content from the live trace that I did. The nice thing is I can always adjust the blob brush size as you'd expect. So do something kind of like that. One solid shape. Gradation, whether I want this gradation or not, it's totally up to you. Okay. I'm going to step forward through this really fast, guys, because you demand this session move fast, because we need to get into Photoshop as well. But again, just painting along. Like that. Something like that. I personally like just one solid color, actually. I think this just medium gray looks good. Okay. You guys get the idea. How's everybody doing? Have you guys seen Wonder Woman yet? Chile in the house. Busta, have you seen the Wonder Woman movie yet? I wonder if anybody has. I have not. I actually might go see it tomorrow night. Not 100% sure, though. Right, we will just see how it goes. Basically creating those shadows. We got Gal Gadot fans out there. I was a fan, found out yesterday that she is she's married, and I'm heartbroken now. David Grant, what's up, man? How are you doing? David, where do you live? Just kind of curious. A is the direct selection tool, minus removing anchor points, all that jazz. Cool. This is life of a designer. It's just like either it's pixels or it's BZA points that you're just pushing around, but essentially the same thing. All right, kind of like that. Just pushing stuff around. Okay, I'm going to do this whole side really fast, and then I'm going to move on to some other things. Not to worry. Make this brush size smaller. We'll get this whole side. Sorry, while I'm looking at my screen, I'm not looking at the chat. But what I want to do is I would make the Wonder Woman logo, is what I was going to do in Illustrator, and then make it all 3D and cool in Photoshop, and then possibly even use Project Felix if I have time, which is our new 3D app. So that's the plan. But I have actually more things to show you guys. I'm filming from beautiful, colorful Colorado, as it's called. Oh, yes. Oh, this is kind of wrong, actually. Her hand's right here. Let's do this. Should go like that. There we go. Cool. A little lumpy down that side, but that's okay. All right, so done with that part, right? So added the shading, used the blob brush, smoothed it out using the smooth tool, as well as the simplify for the path, right? Cleaning up where appropriate. I'll throw some cool hair in here really fast, right? But basically I'm illustrating her because I don't want her, I want a stylized version of Gal. So I went ahead and used Adobe Stock, and I found some sweet hair on Adobe Stock. So that's what I'm going to use right here. You can see the hair right here. In fact, let me just delete this, double click on this file. You can see all this gorgeous hair right here. Taking that, oh, it's a little sneak peek, and pasting it in. Now you're probably saying, hey, could you draw that? Yes, I could. Of course we can. Right? It's just a matter of like, what do you have time for? So pencil tool, selecting that, adjusting the smoothness. So it's going to be all the way down to smooth for the pencil. And yeah, I can make the stroke thicker, but I'm just going to draw out some hair like that. Zoop. Something like that, right? Oops. If you ever screw up on a line, you can redraw it by drawing over it. So see how I drew over this short one? It replaces it. Okay, so again, that's what I do is start to work on that hair. Okay, it doesn't look like hair, right? It's horrible. Well, coming in here, it's a couple different things we can do. In fact, this is what I want to do. If I can get back to my original. There we are. Let's do this. Let's try this really fast. Check this out. Take a strand of hair, use the width tool, make it thick on one end, thin on another end, like hair should be, something like that. It's kind of ridiculous how thick it is. It's going to be like Medusa hair, but that's basically the profile that I want. And so from there, for this stroke, this will give me a new Does this work? A new brush? Maybe not. I should be able to make a new stroke. So clicking here. Yeah. I want to make a new width profile, technically is what it's called. But I am not seeing where that is, guys. So, new brush. But anyways, that's all I was going to show you is how to use the width tool for something like this to make the hair. Either way, once it's saved, I can select any one of these pieces of hair right here. I can go under here to these different width profiles. Oh, there it is at the bottom. Selecting it and then picking, say, this bottom one that I just made. And that's how you typically like draw out hair. That's just one example, by the way. Shift C will change that anchor point. You guys get the idea. All right, let's move on. Let's move on to something more fun. Not that this isn't fun. Because what did I do? I can draw out the hair. You guys could watch me do that and be bored to tears. Instead, I'm just going to turn on this hair that I happen to find that was that I found on Adobe Stock. So this is actually what I would use. Take this, transform. We can reflect it. Boom, vertically. And work with it that way. I'm going to show you how to do something real fast, though. This is as far as manipulating pixels or, vectors that you find. That's probably what you're going to want to do. I'm going to show you how to do that. All right. Sorry I'm not really chatting with you guys. How rude. Yes, Tim works 24/7. Tim is online more than I'm online. And it's kind of part of my job to be online. Boom, Medusa hair. But he's a good man. Now she has some epic hair. Okay, so for her hair, I actually want it to kind of be distorted a little bit differently. I can do this a couple different ways. And what I'm going to use is I'm going to go to Object, I'm going to go to Envelope Distort, and I'm going to make with Mesh. Okay, so it's going to give me, say, 4 rows, or actually let's do less, because it's just going to be more flowy that way. 2 rows, 4 columns, clicking OK, Direct Selection Tool, clicking, moving that back, clicking in the middle right here just to select that point, and I can make her hair go down because it's a little too wispy. But this just kind of allows me to distort it. I didn't want to really distort it too much around her face. I want to make sure we can see her face, and then the rest of her hair just kind of falls down, just all kinds of gorgeous. Right, so that's the idea. Pretty easy to use that. Distort. Still make it kind of flowy and all that stuff, but give me that sort of control when I do so. Fix this just by painting black. I use the blob brush like a lot more than I thought I did. All right, cool. Yeah, Medusa hair. It looks a lot better right now. Cool. All right, so far so good. Let's get back into this. Let's kind of make a star, okay? So it's not Wonder Woman unless she has like an awesome star behind her, okay? So that's what I want to do, create a cool star background. So, just new layer real fast. And right back here, you have the star tool, right? And I can click and drag, and there's a typical star, right? David, you're too kind. So there's the star, by the way. So I'm going to delete that. I'm going to show you how you can actually control the star tool. In fact, if I double click on it, does nothing happen? Nope. This is like a pro tip for you. So essentially, for this star, if I hold down the Alt key and click, and then I hold down the Shift key, it gives me a different star. And I apologize for this freaking being on a layer that's black, but essentially this is the regular star, and this is holding down the Alt key. You can see this is more of a true star. So that's all you need to do to get what you want. That's what I want, a fun star, right? Boom. Yeah, it can go back there. It can go behind her if we want to. Make her look all weird. But let's go beyond that. Okay, so let me actually just do this. Let me come in here and show you something else, right? Because what I want to happen is I want a series of stars to kind of arc around her, essentially. So that's what I want to do. So right click and drag, Shift Option and then drag will get me there. And then what I can do is I can blend these two together, right? So using the blend tool, click first object, click second object. There's my arc, right? Now I want it to actually follow a circle. So what do? Draw one. How about that? How about that? There's my circle. I'm just using the scissors to kind of cut out a little notch right here because I need a start and end point. But basically what I've done is I've created this path, okay? So here's my new path. I'm going to cut this. I'm going to go into this blend tool. I'm going to select that path and I'm going to paste it in. Okay, and I'll get rid of this other one because now I have two of them. So there we have those stars that follow around that path. Now let me just kind of put these two together because it's weird how those two are like that. Boom. Right? And I can get this exact. I could join these two. That would be better. But you guys get the idea. Now I have this, you know, these stars follow along this circle that I can now kind of put around her head. Right? Let's do something like that. David Grant, yes. I hope you're learning something new every day. I know I am. And then sometimes you're like, how come I didn't know this before? Like, how did I go, X amount of years of my life and not know about this? So keep in mind, like, if I change the size of these, obviously it's going to change them across the board. I'm going to select both of those. They're stacked, one's stacked on top of the other. And yeah, I can make them bigger like that. And equal distribution around all of those. That looks pretty cool. Let me do you one better. Are you ready? She's looking good. Man, she's looking good. It's fantastic. Next pro tip, and then I'm going to get into Photoshop. So this is what I'm going to do. Let's get a black stroke. Zoop. There it is. And let me just hide that. Here's my black circle with a black stroke. Okay, and I want to create a burst. So rather than using like the line tool and drawing out from the center, sure, I could do that, and that doesn't look that bad. You could do that and use the width tool to come over here and just be like zoop, right, or something like that. And that's going to take all day if you want it equally balanced and you're really like anal like I am, right? So what you want to do is you want to get rid of those. go in to this bad boy right here and turn on dashed line. Okay, in fact, not only turn on dashed line, let's drop this down to 50. Right? Now we're going to change the size to about 500. So the weight of the line is like 500 now. And boom. What about the weight of the line being 1,000? Did I get that right? 1,000. There we go. Boom. Boom. There she is. Glorious. Right? So I still want that to be even larger, kind of expand it out like that. And something like that. It's kind of cool. All right, I need to get this stuff into Photoshop. And I probably bit off more than I can chew today. But there's the burst. Burst looks cool. Where are my stars at? Where are my stars at? There's my stars. I have full control over that content. I can line it up, shrink it down. You guys get the idea. All right, what's going on, guys? Gabby, what's up? We're working on Wonder Woman, right? This is what we've created. We did use a little live trace just to help us out, right? There's a number of things we can do from here, but this is already in a pretty good place, and I can start bringing this content into Photoshop. So let me actually just click over to one that I was working on. So here's sort of more of a finalized version of her, right? We see I've added some metal on here. I won't go into that, but yeah, let's bring all this stuff. Yeah, let's bring it all in there. Let's bring it into Photoshop. Copying, Photoshop, paste, smart object. Let's make it larger. Why not? Boom. Right, here it is in Photoshop. Drop in some textures. Right, let's put a texture back there. Give me 1 second, guys. Change the size. Canvas size, 1920 by 1920. I must try to impress you guys. Changing the layer modes, by the way. I might even want to get rid of the white. This is what I want to do. I want to go to take this texture, put it on top of what I've imported, and go through it this way. All right, we'll just go with this one. We'll go with this one for now. Now, let me do one more thing. Yeah, so this still kind of needs work, by the way. I can talk about some of these layer mode issues. Let's don't look at that because that's something I added and I need to fix it. So, but nonetheless, it's pretty good. Let's work on the logo, by the way. So let me just open up. Give me 1 second. Let me find the file that I need. Wait for it. Let me just switch over and answer any questions you guys might have. Staring at the screen too long, guys. All right, and we're back. I just didn't want you to see all my personal files. Not that I have anything to hide. But here's the logo. So check this out. This is what I can do. I can take this. Yeah, let's just take this whole thing as a unit, except for this little burst. Get rid of that. And let's get rid of this. I could take this as sort of like one shape. Okay, so sure, here's my one shape. I'll take this to the next level in a second, but watch this. To go in Photoshop, pasting it in as a smart object. Why not? There's the big W. Boom. Her logo right here. Let's take that. Let's make it 3D because I want it to be cool. 3D extrusion. Click Create. Right, now it has that depth. In fact, you'll notice as I rotate this around, you can see it does have depth. But let's take this logo and let's rotate it. So let me show you kind of more of the screen and what's happening here. Let's take this, 90 degrees. Boom, put it on top. What about the current view? Well, let's put that. The current view for the camera should be top down. So let's point it down. So I'm looking at it from the top down. Start to adjust, you know, the shadow. Let's go beyond that because for this object, rather than just being a simple bevel, sure, we could change the depth of it, right? Because that's 528. Let's make it 100 instead. And let's make sure that this is resting on the ground. So move to ground. Boop. So this just gives me, it's just a little bit more shallow of a logo. So let's take this, give it a bevel of 20, right? Let's make it the contour, something else that's a little special, concave. Is that right? And then we have that curved in and all that fun stuff. Do you think the iPad Pro is a good investment? I know I asked a bit earlier, but I'm considering only if it helps. Yeah, David. I don't know. My personal opinion is, I would say that's a tough one. Because I haven't been using mine for drawing like I thought I would. So that's the short of it. I mainly just use mine to watch movies on planes. Apple wants you to think it's a good investment. I would say if you're going to be doing a lot of drawing, then you get that with Apple Pencil. But compare that cost with a Wacom, because I'd rather get a Wacom or Wacom Cintiq over an iPad Pro. But that's just me. I like the surface of a Wacom better. All right, so let's take a look at this. Texture, edit texture, right? So this is a dumb, let's actually change this. Let's do this. I can change the texture to gold, right? Clicking, change the front to gold, okay? That's not bad. It's still not that great though. So let's edit that texture because each side has its own texture. So that's what I'm doing right now. Now, luckily, I've already done this because I can open up this file real fast. Here's my gold that I want to use. I can copy this, paste it in here. Let's try that one more time. Copy, paste, get rid of that, save it. So this file is now being mapped to the front, and now I have that cool texture. So that's typically what I'd want to do for all the sides. Okay, so there's a front bevel, there's an extrusion, all sorts of things. So you'd have to actually apply that gold to it, and then possibly change the texture to get exactly what you want. Okay, so that's what I'm doing right now, and you can see how much brighter it is, but you get that, you'll start to get that cool highlight at this point. Cool. That's what I'm trying to do anyway. Let's put some grunge texture on top of that just for fun, because I can use a 3D layer just like I would any other layer. In this case, I want to make it darker, possibly. Let's go through the different layer modes. There we go, something like that. That really didn't do much of anything. Yeah, let's not even do that. I'm gonna get rid of this, add a new layer, and I'm gonna paint with black. Okay. Yeah, that's right. Because basically I want some shadow fall off. So that's what I'm putting there, and that's what I will change the layer mode of. Something like that. All right, cool. So basically the logo is washed out. I needed it to match the background, and that's what I've come up with. And yeah, that's what's going on, guys. Yeah, so David, I would share the gold with you, but to be honest with you, I just like pulled it down, sort of like I got it just from online, basically. I just did a Google search for gold texture. So that's technically how I got the gold texture. Okay. Technically, I should really be using something like Adobe Stock and actually paying for it. But this really isn't a paid sort of gig, so I figured that was all right. So yeah, that's the short of it. What do you think, guys? Oh, and keep in mind, this is all 3D, by the way, so I can still change this angle and all that fun stuff. Put that back. So I still need to map textures to the side, but you get the idea. Cool. Cool. Okay, pro tip. You guys ready for this? Oh yeah, by the way, here's kind of more of the final version. So let me just cheat and show you what I came up with. Because really this logo is not the actual logo, but here's kind of what I was working on. So you have that gold texture. This is actually 3D. So here's the Wonder Woman 3D layer, like I just showed you how to do. Right? So if I change the current view, I will show you how it's different in that it has multiple 3D elements. Okay, each bar is its own separate 3D element that has a different depth. In fact, that one's floating off the top of it, and that's okay. Right? But that's how that's put together. And hey, looks better than nothing. Boom. Cool. Is this better? Is this one better? Oh, you do like it, David? Oh, good. Whew. You know what really helped this is it like all the textures. You can see the different layers. Yes, I have some fun lens flares there, whatever, like sure. But all these textures on top. So you mentioned the gold. Well, here's the gold just as an overlay. And you can see all these different textures as different overlays. I'm not even using some of these background elements. But yeah, that's why I used Photoshop, because I wanted more texture and I wanted to obviously like layer it all together and all that good stuff. But again, this was just for fun. The last thing I was going to show you, by the way, real fast, for this 3D element that I just created, I can export this 3D layer, right? So I can export this as an OBJ. Okay, and I'll put it on, let's put it in a new folder called logo. And I'll export that out with not only the OBJ, but you have all the different materials and diffuse maps and all that fun stuff. So there's my 3D object. Because what I could actually use is something like Project Felix, right? So this is a new 3D app that we're essentially working on. Okay, you can just do a Google search for it. As long as you have an Adobe ID, I think you should be able to download it. But that's all I did, is I brought it right in here. In fact, if I delete this, file, import 3D model. It doesn't say it, but I think it should be, OBJ is what you bring in. It won't accept an STL. Sorry, it doesn't give you more file types. You know, I don't know where it put it, but I typically, it helps when you import something just to zero out the position to bring it into position, but there it is right now. So from there, I can apply maybe even different materials or whatever to it. Let's do the damaged. Ooh, is this like a damaged gold? Sweet. That's what I'm talking about. Throw some damaged gold on there. And let's throw some copper. Actually, we can make one of these like a copper. Rust. Oh, this is cool. Sorry, I'm just going to play with this for a little bit. Oh, rust is ugly, actually. Let's go back to the damaged gold. All right, so I could tweak any one of these. This happens to be the large W. We could see the damaged gold material off to the side, have a base color. You can see the metallicness, of course, is going to be cranked all the way up. But that's what you get. And I can search for like a background, or let's do like, I don't know, something cool. Let's just throw this down. Wonder Woman wouldn't be at a bar. I better fix that. I need like a landscape. Or mountains. Ah. So let's create a light from the image. So from that background image, it's going to create a light. It should actually change it. Adjust lighting. Give it a second. And now it actually picks up lighting from the image, of course. Let's kind of rotate this around and up. All right, guys, that's it for me. I've gone for about 47 minutes. Yeah, so it's, yeah, you used it for a university course. Yeah, you can bring in your own 3D files. I mean, it's not making 3D files. The problem with this is it's casting a shadow on the background. And that's just because I rotated the camera and not the object. But look at how fast this renders too, by the way. Like if I was to do this in Photoshop, it's just going to take longer, right? Technically, this isn't even rendered. But yeah, Felix is pretty quick. This is V-Ray is what's being used here. So that's kind of cool. All right, guys, that is it for me. Again, you can see that plane. I can take this object, flip it, move it like I'm supposed to. All right, guys. Thanks so much, Gabby, for watching. Thanks, Tim. Thanks, Peter. Thanks, David. Thanks, everybody. And yeah, render speed is like key because that's one reason for not working in 3D. It's for the render time. But thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll be live again next week doing some fun stuff. But hopefully you enjoyed the stream and what we've created, which was kind of fun as well. So you guys have a wonderful afternoon, a wonderful weekend. Be kind to one another, and I'll talk to you guys later. We'll see ya.